Valentine's Day. Happy Love Day, y'all. Oh my goodness. So, this episode today, it's going to be great. It's going to be, what are y'all doing for Valentine's Day? I need to know. Personally, in my household, we don't celebrate it. But I can't wait to hear what our co-host Jasmine does for Valentine's Day because, people have different ideas what they want to do. But I don't believe in it. But also, February is my birthday month. I don't really want to share with anyone else. So, I try not to. But yeah, what are you doing for Valentine's Day? Um, okay, we have a different episode today. While we wait for Jasmine to join us, we do have a different episode than we anticipated today. Okay, hold on. Let's see what's going on. Technology, folks. Technology. Let's see. She should be joining us any second. And I'm excited. There you are.
Hey girl, hey.
Okay, cute.
Trying.
I
How you
was
doing, friend?
good. I was saying happy Valentine's Day.
Oh, happy Valentine's Day.
Yes. Are y'all doing anything special?
No, I could. Well, our day started off interesting. So,
Mm.
we thought Jordan broke his finger, so we were at the hospital this morning. Now
Oh,
everybody's like winding down. It's like sleep time.
I
So, yeah.
see. Okay, you know what? I think that is a great. Oh my gosh! Just welcome to our episode for today. Okay.
Yes.
But yes, thank you for joining us with Stories from Mamas with me, Dr. Sha'Rose, and our co-host Jasmine Mitchell. Today we were supposed to be bringing you Jasmine's birth story. Okay,
Mhm.
last week we shared my birth. Well, we didn't fully share my birth story. Okay,
Okay.
and that's what we're gonna get into today.
Okay.
Um, but last week we were live with my birth story, and
Yes.
then we were supposed to go through Jasmine's today, but we realized we needed to roll it back a little bit, friend.
Just a
We
touch.
had to roll it back.
Just
Um,
a touch.
yeah. Why did we need to roll it back?
Well, because during our interview, we realized that you had a lot of things coming up that you didn't really realize were there.
Yeah.
Um, and then a few days later, we talked again, and you still had things coming up. Um, which is fine.
Yes.
But the more we talked about it, the more that we realized we ain't never talked about any of this.
Yep.
Um, we don't get the time as often as moms to reflect, to look back, to process trauma.
Yes.
Uh, and it's like when you finally do have a moment to just release, it's like you just it's like a dam that won't stop.
Ooh,
Like you've opened the gates and it's coming, it's gushing, it's been built up for so long, and everyone's looking at you like, girl, you were there. Like, what's the problem? Like, yeah, I know I was there, but I was not
right.
there. Is what a lot of people don't understand. So not just through birth, not just through your experiences through pregnancy and delivery, but myself, I had an incident with my son. Oh, Lord. Oh, thank God.
Oh
There's tissue. Okay.
my goodness. I was gonna say you have to. Well, okay. Here, let's
Oh,
listen because you're right. You are fresh off of a morning in the ER, right?
yeah.
Which even last week and a half ago, that was another part of the situation, and it's that you're absolutely right. We don't have time to process it, so I kept saying, I'm avoiding this. I'm avoiding putting the full recording out there for people to see. I'm
Mhm.
avoiding looking back at this recording and taking little snapshots of it that we need for our social media content.
Right.
I'm avoiding putting it in our joint drive so that you could even do stuff.
Right.
I didn't want nobody to see this, okay? And why? Why? Why was why were there so many emotions and feelings around sharing what I already shared, right? But now it's reliving it again,
Mhm.
and talking through that. And even right, we talked a couple days later, and it was like it started to come up again, where it's like I lived through this 7 years ago now.
Mhm.
7 years ago, but I never sat down and processed the effects of all of this, the hormone change, the chemical change. And I've had therapy since then, couples therapy. I got solo therapy. I got friends who are therapists. I got friends who ain't technically therapists, but they don't listen to me cry enough. And I still hadn't talked about my birth. I
Yeah.
hadn't talked about pregnancy. I hadn't talked about the emotions. And I know, right? I'm privileged in that my birth story is not traumatic,
Yeah.
in the sense of like, there are definitely women who have, and even your story, right? We'll talk about it later, but like, that are far more traumatic than my first birth
Yeah.
story. I didn't know that. However, I'm still affected, and I still hadn't talked about it till we talked about it last week, and all the things came up, and you reframed it for me, and you were like, "That's called processing, or lack of."
Yes, my therapy dollars are paying off. Clap for me. Yes. But yes, we don't there's usually not time to process because I mean, just talking about birth, like, you're pregnant. Yes, you're processing, but you're not really processing. You're preparing, you're trying to adjust, you're suffering, your body is reconstructing itself, and it's a whole process. And then, you get to the hospital and then everything's like boom, boom,
That,
boom, boom. Labor, delivery. Now you're postpartum and you're kind of like in this rush of, okay, new human.
yeah,
Y'all are in here every 30 to 45 seconds, it feels like. Okay, y'all are coming to see the baby.
yep,
You're teaching me how to put my boob, like you're holding my chest and I'm sitting here. Okay. Like, but seriously, like and then even after that, like the body checkups that they do, like when you think you're done and they're still like, oh, spread it, like not to be vulgar, but I mean, they are like, that's just how everybody treats you. Like, this is just like you're just going in for a routine dental cleaning or something. Like, that's just kind of how they process you.
yeah,
And then, 2 or 3 days later, you're sent home with this tiny person that you don't know that now needs you to completely make sure they stay alive,
yeah.
even though you just barely made it off of a table alive yourself.
Friend, I had this conversation with another friend 2 days ago where I was explaining this exact thing. And I started crying again. I was like, I just I didn't process this. And she said her doula, when she got pregnant the second time, had her process her first delivery and pregnancy. And
Mhm.
she said, I boo hooed. I boo hoo cried. And even still, talking about it again,
Yeah.
those same emotions came up. And it's like, once isn't enough. One person might not even be enough. This is going to take time. And I think I've, over this last week, have realized I need to take time and process this. I need to sit with this. I need to stop and pause. And, you know, I know from your experience with Jordan, that was that moment when you actually sat still and stopped where you said, oh shit, some things are happening.
Yeah, yeah. That was a moment. That
Yeah.
was that was a moment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to get into it, Fred? Or
Sure. I think I'm ready. I think I'm okay now. Let's do this. Um, so y'all know whatever this uh what is it like plague is that's going around that they say it's the flu, whatever. Um, my son and I got it. We were both sick. He was a little bit sicker than me, whatever. We both started getting better. Everything's fine. Long story short, he gets sick again, but he gets sick within a matter of like 12 hours. Like he still had his little cough, like runny nose, but everything was like clearing up. But it was like Wednesday evening, I was like, he's coughing more. And, Mike was like, blah, he's fine. It's just drainage. Everything he's getting it out. Like he's okay. I was like, okay. Still wasn't settled, but I was like, I'm gonna leave it alone. He woke up Thursday morning at 2 a.m. He woke us up, and he had a fever. His fever was like 102 something. Um, and for little people, that's a lot. Little tiny people, that's a
That's
lot.
a lot.
So we went, gave him his Motrin. The fever broke, so we didn't panic. Let him come in our room. Next morning, on the clock, you give him the Motrin again because you can see his fever coming back.
Yeah.
I had gone to work. I worked really early. I had gotten back home around maybe like 8 or 9. And I was just like, man, he just does not seem like he's getting better to me.
Mm-mm.
But I was trying not to stress it. Michael leaves, he goes to work. He leaves sometime between 8 and 9. And I'm just watching him. And if anybody knows my son, or you've seen him, on my profile anywhere, he's very energetic. There is not a force on this earth um, that will make him miss out or, like not I'm gonna make you get
No,
down. Or
but
not.
how old is he?
Oh, Jordan's 2.
Okay.
He's 2.
Okay.
Yes. Full toddler,
Yeah.
fully all there, all go. Um, but yes, he was slowing down and it was just very early. And normally, even when he's sick, Jordan is that child that just goes. He plays harder when he's sick, honestly. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yep.
Um, but around like 10 o'clock, I noticed his breathing was getting very labored. Um, and he wasn't talking very much. He wasn't moving. He was just kind of, slouched on the couch, still not panicking. I was like, okay, it's almost time for me to give him more Motrin. Let me just, you know.
Yeah.
But then he lays out on the floor. He just gets up, lays out on the floor. He doesn't say anything. And I can just see his little body like just contracting with every breath. And I was like, mm-mm. Text Mike was like, nope, I'm about to take him to the hospital, to the ER or whatever.
Yeah.
And so he comes home and we all go together. Um, and then, so at the hospital, they told us they ran a bunch of tests. None of the rapid tests came back positive, like your
Yeah.
RSV,
Yeah.
like none of the stuff that's just really been people have really been getting.
Yeah.
Um, but the doctor she was looking, and my mother's a doctor, so it's like, I know stuff. I'm not a doctor, but like I've been around one long enough to know when you're not telling me the things that need to be coming out of your mouth.
Yeah. Like you're
And
trying.
so she was listening to his lungs and she stopped and then she'd go back and she'd listen and then she just back and forth, back and forth. And I was like, okay. She still never said anything. She sat back down. She was like, okay, well, it's not none of any of these things. And da-da-da. And I'm like, okay, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But what are you not
What are you
telling me?
not saying?
Basically, his left lung had more or less been compromised. Like it wasn't getting enough
Mm-hmm.
oxygen. And at this point his breathing is worse. I mean just with every breath you could hear him. And um at this point he's like actively just falling asleep and waking up, falling asleep,
Oh,
and it's just like none of this seems okay, like
no.
so what she tells us is that she is concerned. She wants to wait for the test because, we went to urgent care, not the ER,
Okay.
because she said if we went to the ER, they're going to run the very same test again, which is
Yeah.
true. But she said she just was not confident enough and to just say, just go home.
Mm-hmm.
So she suggested a breathing treatment. We did the albuterol to see if it would just kind of help his lungs until the test came back.
Yes.
And I mean, while he was doing the breathing treatment, his breathing seemed to settle down. He actually fell asleep. I was surprised because most kids are screaming, which, I could tell it was helping because after he got over the initial shock, he just knocked out.
Yeah.
Um, and so I was like, okay, well, he's doing a little better. We'll watch him. We decided to go home. He had been asking us to take him home. And, everything seemed okay. We kept staying on top of his Motrin when he needed it. Later that evening, his breathing did like he would have these coughing spells. He started having these little coughing fits where they would get where you could tell he was having a very hard time catching his breath.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but Michael was doing very well, just talking him through it and helping him, like, hey, calm yourself down, and it'll help you be able to catch your breath a little bit better. And so we were getting through, like we knew he was sick,
Right.
obviously something was wrong, but we were getting through. We just didn't want him to have to spend an unnecessary night at the hospital. Oh my goodness. I like as I'm saying it, I'm seeing the comments that are gonna come like, you should take your kid to the hospital. Like I see it. But
No. No.
but yeah, so he was fine. We talked him through it. He was okay. So my husband plays at a church on the weekends. He's in a band, so he had gone to rehearsal. Every Thursday night he goes to rehearsal. So it was nothing unusual. We thought he was fine. I was about to, help him get down for bed. Um, and he started having another one of his little coughing fits. And so I'm like, okay, like let's deep breath. Ooh. He's not settling
Mm.
down. And, so I set him up and I was like, okay, like face to face, like, let's breathe together, trying to help him through it. And then I'm like, realizing, like you're not catching your breath. Like, so I'm trying not to panic because it's only going to make it worse. So I stand him up, like I'm standing up, he's standing up, and I'm just like, okay, like I'm blowing in his face, like, catch your breath. He's not. So I didn't walk to the other side of my house. I've opened the back door and it's freezing outside. And I'm thinking maybe the cold air will, shock him. And when I say not catching his breath, I mean, he's like, and this has been going on for like 2 or 3 minutes now. So
Yeah.
for somebody to not be able to inhale fully for that amount of time, his face started changing colors. My son is high yellow. So at this point, like he really had turned like this this deep red.
Yeah.
And it was like, I'm trying my hardest not to panic. Um and I mean I'm trained for all this stuff. First aid, CPR, but a lifeguard, like I can do the things, but it's like I don't know how to make you actually inhale breath,
But
when
the guy's forcing it into his mouth. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And so, but you'd have to wait for him to pass out, and that was the whole problem. Um, but he eventually he turned around, still not inhaling fully, and he grabbed my shirt, like he gripped onto my shirt and looked up at me like, help. And
Mm.
he like gasped, deep breath, like as if he was saying, I'm
Oh.
trying. And you could see the fear in his eyes. And in that moment, I was like, I'm about to watch my son die. Like it was that clear to me, like, oh my God, like this is happening. Like there's even if I call 911, nobody's gonna get here fast enough. Like, like I'm running through all of the things that I could possibly do.
Yeah.
And it was like nothing was it seemed like it just seemed like it was over. Like I was stuck. I was at an impasse of whatever. um by the grace of God, he ended up catching his breath. um and you could tell he was just really traumatized.
Yeah.
He jumped up and grabbed on. He was crying, and I'm trying to console him, trying to help him settle down, because I that's awful.
Yeah.
um Called my mom because it's still like, obviously this is worse than I thought it was. She looked at him, and she is a doctor, so she looked at him, over the phone. We assessed his breathing. The coughing spells were scaring her, but he was seeming to be able to manage them better.
Yeah.
Turn on Bluey, it distracted him enough. um
Yeah.
yeah, so we went to sleep. I had scared the crap out of Michael. I'd text him back and tell him, everything's fine. We're good.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and then, the next day you get up, we're doing breakfast, lunch, whatever, getting all the stuff together, going about our life. Um, and Michael and Jordan was about to lay down and take a nap. And here we are, like, okay, we need to get ready for the weekend, get ready for this and that, just moving.
Yeah.
And, he's in the laundry room. And I think I was in the kitchen looking at what I was about to cook for like dinner. Um, and then it was just like something came over me that was just like, sit down. Both of y'all just need to sit down. And so I did. He was in the laundry room, so I let him finish. I just pulled up a chair to the door and sat down. I was like, hey, you know what? We're just gonna chill. What do you want? On DoorDash, just scrolling. And then I started telling him, like, man, last night was terrible. And I was like, like Jordan really scared me. Like, and I'm just casually like, yeah, I really thought our son was gonna die last night. And then I was like,
And then those words hit.
and I hadn't said it out loud up until that point. And I mean, overwhelming, body shaking, boo-hoo cry.
Yeah.
Because, like, and I've experienced death. Unfortunately, I've actually witnessed a person lose their life. Like, I've been around these things, but watching my child and feeling like this is about to be his last breath, that was that was just a lot.
Ooh.
Um, but it made me realize, like, I never sat down. I never sat down. I never processed.
No.
And then I thought about it, like, when do I ever? When do I ever sit down and just think? Because
Yeah.
even if he is sick and, we spend all night up with him and in the hospital, you still want breakfast at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. You still want to play right after break. Like, when do you stop?
And even in therapy, right? Because you're in therapy, I'm in therapy. There, this doesn't come up.
Because it just feels like it's your everyday, like it's normal, and
Right.
you're so conditioned to not complain
Right.
um,
Mm.
about anything. And I realize there's just so much that I keep to myself. Um, because I get to this place, but like nobody wants to hear about, what you and your kid did again. Nobody wants to hear about like your struggles as a mom. Like everybody's a mother, everybody goes through it, but
Oh,
it,
it alone.
yeah,
We go through it alone. These feelings, emotions. You called me. You FaceTime me. Actually, FaceTime me. And now y'all, we know an unexpected FaceTime.
yeah.
Okay. But you were texting me and then you FaceTime me, and I could just hear the worry that you had. I could hear it. And regardless of what people say or any ideas they had of, well, I would have taken my kid to the hospital and I would have whatever, you, until you're in that moment, you don't know. Because one, kids are really good at faking stuff. I want to believe them, but kids are dramatic. They do fake it. Two,
Mhm.
bills and insurance and hospital bills are a real damn thing.
And then
Okay,
on top of that, everybody in the hospital was sicker than us. And
correct.
that's the whole whatever this is just going around. It was just like you end up in the waiting room, and we had just done this. A few weeks prior with his allergies, in the waiting room for 5, 6 hours with a 2-year-old, and what do you do? So it was like, I don't want to make you suffer through this and have to lay in a hospital bed until their tests come back. And
Yeah,
you don't know when they're going to come back or when they're even going to see you for that
yeah.
matter. So that was our reasoning for staying home.
Absolutely, and I completely got it. And when you asked me, you asked me, right? And I said, look, if you're not getting the answers you want, I always say go to another doctor. I don't care what is. However, there is an instinct. There is, while you're not a doctor, you are the person that knows this child the
Yeah.
best. So you're always going to do what's in his best interest.
Um,
So if you're like, I know this isn't hospital worthy, but there's
yeah.
something that I need to be doing,
Mhm.
right? There's something. And I said, put him in a bath. That's always my answer. Put him in a bath, okay? I'm from the old school. Put him in a bath, rub some Vicks on him, give him some ginger ale.
Listen, and the bath did work. When I say it
That
calmed him
works.
down, he played. Um, I threw some peppermint oil, my little essential oils in there that helped, open him up.
Him up.
But yes, but you could tell it, whatever it was, it just every
Yeah.
time you think, we get a step ahead of it, it just came back. Urgh.
So that.
And we ended up finding out he had post-flu pneumonia,
Oh.
whatever the hell that means.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he
Yeah.
had the flu and then he got pneumonia, and it just his poor little body.
He's so little.
He's so tiny.
Tall, but he's
Mhm.
little, right? Like they're just push our little babies. And who would know what to do, right? Like even I with our first with Eli with our first one, people thought we were crazy because we did not take him to the hospital for things. One, because I was like, there are so many natural things that I want to try first.
Yes.
I don't think that this is, I don't think this is a life threatening thing. Obviously,
Yes.
in the emergency room, but I think we could try this natural thing first because I don't want to go to a hospital and someone tell me something and I don't agree with them and they think that I'm doing the worst thing for my kid and now my kid's stuck there and they don't took my kid away because I didn't want to do what they want to
Right.
do.
Then
Right.
they're really going to judge you and send DHR because, oh, she ignored it, medical advice. But a lot of this stuff, like, because you're in the medical field and
Yes.
growing up with a mother in the medical field, like, if you can control the fever,
Yes.
if they're still wetting their
Yes.
diapers, if they're still keeping, so it's like you're checking off all the
Yes.
boxes, but sometimes them boxes, it's not enough
Not
boxes for some of this new stuff that's flying around.
that
Okay.
real.
Mm.
That is real. And you're still doing it alone. You have Michael,
Yeah.
right? Like you have your mom, you were able to call me. So you were able to lean on your community, but a lot of people don't have community, which is why we said we needed to have this conversation
Yeah.
today. We need to have this conversation today because both of us were in this place of like processing what the hell
And
I've
didn't even realize that both of us were going through it
no,
together till we got in the car.
no, oh my god, being in the car together for like 3 hours, up to you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I didn't even tell you the rest of the events after we had gotten off the phone. Like I didn't even realize that I never told you,
No,
which is crazy because we talk like every other
literally.
day. Um, and so
Yeah.
when you start talking about how you hadn't put up the video, which is unusual. And I was like, really, girl, why? And you start talking about it, and I was like, man, like this is a whole processing thing. And then it dawned on me, like,
You had
oh,
it.
yeah, we probably need to sit and do this.
Yeah.
You know? Mm,
Talk about the processing of stuff. That
yes.
moment when you slow down, right? In right now in my life, I feel like I'm in COVID era, is what I keep calling it. Like, I don't want to leave my house. I don't trust people. They got germs. Like, my kids keep getting sick. But 2020 was a time where people had to stop,
Yeah.
had to slow down. They had to process shit that they because they couldn't run, they couldn't go nowhere, they couldn't call up a friend and just distract them. And
Yeah.
we saw people mental health was real. We saw divorces. We saw marriages. Like people had the time to process the stuff that they weren't processing.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to motherhood, to parenthood, where we go through some shit every fucking day. Okay, that's what I'm gonna
Yeah.
say. We really do.
Yeah.
If we truly wrote down the amount of stuff that we have to be responsible for with our children, it's a lot. From getting
Mm-hmm.
them to school, to getting them home, to teaching them about strangers, to teaching them about uncomfortable family members, right? Like we have to do all of that through our own processes and traumas that we've also dealt with, and we do it alone.
And then I'll take it even one step further. It's when you have a baby, well, at least in my experience, everybody loves you when you're pregnant.
Oh, amen.
Oh,
Can't
like you,
get enough.
people would not stop feeding
Yep.
me, and I was so eternally grateful because I was gonna eat.
I'm hungry.
But as soon as you have your baby,
It's just
who the fuck are you? Like, why are you speaking? Like
yeah.
nobody. Where's the child?
Where's it?
Um, but then you become the bad guy. You become the overprotective person. You become overbearing and a helicopter mom, or oh, you won't let me see the baby, or oh, I think he can eat this and it'll be fine, or don't let that baby cry. Like, not only do you have to process all of your shit,
Yes.
now all of this unsolicited advice, you gotta filter and block and fight and navigate that to even be able to parent in a level-headed
Yeah.
way. And I say level-headed because you've got to be able to make these decisions for
Yes.
yourself.
Yes.
You've got to decide the type of parent you want to be. But everybody knows how to be a better mother than you. Kids are not, And then we're not even get started on, our parents and their parents trying to tell us how to parent, and it's like we're still dealing with the effects of your parenting. So I'm gonna let you keep that over there because my therapist makes a lot of money off of me talking about y'all.
Ah!
So, I mean, love y'all a long time, but it's like we don't need it. And you got friends, you got siblings, and what I think made the incident for me so much heavier when it came to Jordan being sick. Um, my sister and I were actually in a huge fight.
We naming names.
Well, she has no like even to this day she has no idea because I had to take space
Yeah.
because it was like I'm fighting for my child's life right now and I can't argue with you. Um, and so my sister and I were in this huge fight, going back and forth over the phone, which it bothers me. Like, yeah, I love my sister. I don't want to fight with you. And I did want to sit and talk with her and work this out, like whatever, issue we had that
Yeah.
needed to be resolved. Um, but in the moment, dealing with some bullshit in my child's life, it's
Didn't happen.
like, eh. And then now I got to process your feelings because you're mad about, what we have not resolved. Now you're mad because I haven't texted you back or called you back. And so I'm catching on. So you
Right.
never know. It's like there's always so much. And then not to mention, you're still a wife. You're still a business owner. Oh, so
Stop.
you
Stupid.
like right. Like you're still a person
Yeah.
that is responsible for all these other things outside of just being somebody's mother.
Yeah.
Mm.
When's the time? When is the time? When is the moment where we say, let me sit with these feelings? And that they're uncomfortable, right? Like to share my birth story, to then share how I felt about it, it was uncomfortable. And I was like, I needed to be in a place, in a space where I felt comfortable and safe enough to feel those emotions. Because
Yeah.
why am I still feeling these emotions? And why do I have all this whatever it is around it? And why do I want to bring it up with every friend that I talk
It
to?
just comes out and it's like you don't mean to.
Right.
And but it happens. You start trauma dumping on people because you're just chatting.
Yes.
But you don't realize how close to the surface all of that stuff is
Yeah.
sitting. And we love to talk about the not we, but we
As,
love to talk about the negative stigma behind postpartum depression and postpartum anxiety. But like I literally was awake during surgery.
yeah.
Y'all ran my child away from me. Like I'm just, throwing out examples. Like
Yeah.
you ran my child to the NICU and I had to lay here strapped across the table. Like,
You done got into your birth story.
oh no, like that's not even no. Jordan didn't go to the NICU, but I'm just
Right.
saying, like, I have friends who did.
Yeah.
Like people who like I've got a cousin who did stop breathing on the table. My best friend um lost so much blood, like they didn't know she was gonna make it. And then it's now go take care of your kid. Um that doesn't just go away.
Yeah. We push it down.
And because when you do talk to people or try to, girl, yeah, it happens.
It,
Oh yeah, that happened to me too.
yeah.
It it's part of the process.
Yeah. And I told you, I stopped. I used to like binge birth stories. I loved them. I loved them.
Yeah,
Within
same.
within my field though, I hear a lot of
Yeah,
birth stories.
yeah,
And I have to be that professional who's like, you went to this doctor who is likely for you to have that experience. When people come in, I'm already like, you're probably gonna end up with C-section. You're probably gonna, but it when the story starts like, whoa, girl, I almost died on the table, or I bled out so bad, ha 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 ha. And I know that that laugh, there's so much under that
Oh,
laugh. I know there's so much under that laugh because you have to. Because if you told any other rational person from any other surgery or event that happened in your life, I almost bled out, there wouldn't be a laugh. They'd be like, oh my God, I'm so glad you're alive. From a knee surgery, people would have a different response.
yeah.
But when you say, I had this baby, I almost bled out. I could feel the cutting. I da 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 da. Girl, it's crazy, ain't it?
Crazy does not even
Right.
begin. It is an acceptance of a lack of care. Y'all, my child is supposed to be taking a nap. I hear him talk.
Ah,
Uh,
ah,
but it's an acceptance.
yeah.
It's almost as if they have conditioned us to just shut up and deal
Yeah.
and then smile about it while you're dealing.
And laugh and you'll be fine. You know what? That's not even as bad as a birth that I've seen before, you know? And that doesn't make it okay, friend. You don't have to be okay. That's the biggest part of this. Is you don't have to be okay.
No.
And I can honestly say right now, in process, I'm not okay. Like I am not okay. And that's why this conversation needed to happen. That's
Yeah.
why we needed to talk through this. That's why we need to talk about processing things because I'm not. And I still I'm
It's
getting
okay. Here's some tissue for you.
um because I because my birth wasn't traumatic, I thought that meant I didn't need to process anything
Hmm.
because I did talk to my husband some afterwards and we had conversations because I had another kid, because I'm in therapy now and I'm healing some other stuff. But I truly sat last week and I started a process of this birth experience and then even becoming a mom because whew, that's a whole nother subject in itself. And that's when it's like, and then hearing your story, you saying, processing that in that moment of sitting down, it's like, what else are we not taking that moment to sit down and process and not be okay? Because this is hella uncomfortable. Okay. I don't want to get on here and cry to y'all every week,
Yeah.
but that's where I'm at right now.
Well, we're crybabies, so somebody's gonna cry every week, probably. Yes, it is what it is. But
Sponsor us, we'll take it.
Kleenex, yes, Puffs. Who else we got? Kleenex, Puffs. I don't know. We'll take Kirkland's. Okay, I don't discriminate. I love me a good
Oh my
bargain.
gosh.
But we don't we don't sit down.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing, and honestly what all of this was about, is being selfish enough to make time
Ooh.
to do it. And sometimes this didn't start off just as, oh, we're gonna get on here and cry about all of our shit.
Oh,
It was, we talk well together. But as we talk together, when we're together, we realize that these issues, like, I didn't know you from Adam and Eve, like not even a year ago,
yes.
but there was just so many similarities
Yeah.
in the things that we were experiencing, and us both being people who talk too much, we just kept talking about it. And the more we talked about it, like, how did how is everybody in the same boat? And
No.
we got to make the time to sit down. And just since I've met you, I have been forcing myself, even in them days I don't want to get up off my couch because it's comfortable, but forcing myself to go out and be me and enjoy my life, and have these mom conversations with
Yes.
other mothers, and realize, like, man, there's just so much I don't get off my chest so frequently. Like, it's just so much, and it's a lot heavier than I realized. And we don't realize how weighted we are until um, it starts coming off. Because for me, my therapist actually told me this. I didn't even realize I had been talking to her as long as I've been talking to her. And I should have, because I think when I started with her, Jordan was maybe like 6 or 7 months.
Mm.
Um, and I really, and I talk to this lady every week. I don't know how I didn't know. But um, she looked at me and she was like, Jasmine, like, I'm so proud of you. Like, you have, like I was deep dark depths of postpartum depression. Like it was
Yeah.
dark over here, and
Yes.
it was dark. But thankfully, with my own history with just dealing with depression prior to, like, I just was trying to keep this heightened awareness of where my mind was. Um, but yeah, when I started working with her and I was telling her like how dark and things had gotten, and she told me a few weeks ago, she was like, I'm so proud of you. Like, you have literally picked yourself up off the floor and fought your way through this thing.
Ooh, girl.
And the crazy thing about it is, we try to tell mothers like that, you're gonna get through this. You're not just gonna get through this shit. And I wish we would stop saying that bullshit. That's all I got. Because
Yes.
I remember reaching out to, certain family members, like, and I'm not gonna say who, because when we do my birthday, I'll let you know.
Okay. Okay.
But I remember reaching out to certain family members and like, and always, I've always been a very tactful person in what I say to
No.
people. Because I've never I no because I didn't come from the most emotionally intelligent
No.
family. So for me to come out to people and be like, I feel like I'm losing myself. That was a big thing for me.
And very
Um hmm,
and very specific.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it was, oh, you'll be fine. Just focus on what you've got in front of you, and instead of just nodding like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm fine, I'm fine. And then you wonder why, like, maternal suicide is so high.
Ooh.
A person who just said, I'm not okay, you just patted them on the back and said, it's okay, friend, you're fine. So
I, I just
now i'm
okay.
now I'm really crazy, because it's like, I know what I'm going through right here. Um, but you're telling me that everybody goes through this and everybody's okay. So it doesn't make sense. Like,
Yes. Listen, I'm looking at this comment and it says, I wish more men could hear this so we can understand what y'all go through, so we can be more present and attentive when we see the signs.
we
Just
got
knowing
you.
something is a start. You know what? This is a start. You are here, friend, and we appreciate you. Share this with your other dudes, okay?
Yes.
One of the things is the men that are out there who are more aware need to be that bridge for their buddies.
Yeah.
Okay, they need to be that bridge, because we can't do it all. Because we say this shit don't feel right. I don't feel like myself. I need to do something. It's not necessary that women aren't saying it. It's maybe not being received as something's not okay.
I'll do you one better. I One of the things that I've had to talk me and my husband have had to work through is understanding the difference between what you think I need and what I'm telling you that I need.
Yeah.
So we talk about support, and I think we all have this idea of what support looks like. Like, okay, I'm gonna make sure I got your water bottle, like, their diapers, the baby's bottles are good. Like,
Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. That is good, tangible support. Like, we appreciate it,
And
but yes, yes, and knowing that as mothers, we have it's within our nature to nurture. And especially, when you first have your child, something does click. nine times out of 10, it's like a switch, and you go into this mama bear mode. I'll put it to you this way: elephants.
Okay.
When little baby elephants are born, the herd, they surround the baby and the mom.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Because the mother is giving all of her energy to creating a new member of the family, like a new person, the new person, that can fight and protect, or a new woman that can bring more children. All of her attention has to be here, so this new being can grow and develop properly,
Mm-hmm.
well. And so their job is to make sure I'm keeping you safe. We're leading y'all where you need to be. And the only thing that you've got to do is keep your eyes on your kid. What we need is for people to be watching our surroundings. Okay, you got Jordan. You're nursing. What kind of nutrition do you need? Let me go figure that out. You're not sleeping well. How do we break up this schedule? How do I support you getting more rest so you can continue to nurse well? You can continue to be the emotional support system for our child. You can continue to be that nurturer. Not to mention, we're still being wife and partner and sister and everything else. But
Yeah.
I think we've been conditioned to believe that motherhood is just this natural thing that flows out of us, and it's not.
We don't
It
know.
is
We have no idea what we're doing. No idea what we're doing.
none, but we have no choice but to figure it out
Yeah.
because DHR will come knocking. I'm gonna just be honest, like they're gonna come get the kid, or we're all going to prison. Like it is, but in all seriousness, like we
Yeah.
have to figure it out. Like we have this new kid. I didn't know what my nursing journey was going to look like, but I had to figure it out. I had to figure out how to keep showing up and how to keep,
Yeah.
producing enough, and how to make sure I was eating enough. And, sometimes the support that you're asking for, sometimes it doesn't sound like, hey, babe, can you do X, Y, and Z? Sometimes it's like, I don't think I ate enough today, right
Uh,
before you go to bed.
uh,
Sometimes it's, I was up all night. I haven't showered in 3 days. It's realizing things are not right.
yeah.
You're not getting enough here. So how do I adjust to make this situation different, or more sustainable? Um, it,
No. What I hear, and to go back to the comment, is this place where, as the parent, as a mom, you have to be like very open and honest with, like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. As the partner, you have to be okay and honest with being like, I don't know what the hell we're doing or what I'm doing, but both being okay with coming together and figuring it out together.
mhm,
Just even going back in my own history and hearing, yours and other people's, it's this space where sometimes men get pushed to the background because they assume and or feel, and the woman feels and assumes that she is just gonna know what to do. And it's just this innate thing. And the man is like, well, there's nothing for me to do because you know all the things, like it's in your instincts. And that's not the case. And we're weaning the hell out of it. But that support is there. The man doesn't feel like, well, there's any place for me to come in and support because you got it. And the
mhm,
reality is nobody got it. That's why you did it together.
mhm.
And I remember
And,
a very distinct moment where I told my husband, you need to treat me the way you treat this baby. Make sure this baby eats and make sure I eat.
I like that
Baby
one.
is changed, make sure I take a shower. Like, and that gave him something tangible to do.
Mm,
Okay?
mm,
Because if I'm gonna make sure the baby's eating and I'm making the bottle or whatever, I'm gonna throw you a snack in there too. Okay?
mm,
And if I'm making sure I'm changing this diaper or whatnot, have you washed under your armpits in a couple days, And that was that gap that was
mm,
great, where it was like, I can survive this.
mhm.
Everybody's in survival mode. I can survive this. You can help me survive this, but it has to look like we don't know what the hell we're doing, but we're doing it together.
Absolutely. And I
And
also think if there was a little bit more, not even respect. Respect is not even the word that I'm looking for, but just if we saw childbirth for what it really is,
Yes.
um, it childbirth is about the closest thing you can get to death without actually dying, if you make it.
Whew.
Um,
And we know many people don't.
and they don't, especially, our black and brown people. Like, it's alarmingly high rates. So understanding that this is a traumatic injury that their body has gone
Yeah.
through.
Yeah.
Their brain is just in hyperdrive off of adrenaline and everything other hormonal drug they got up running through us,
Yeah.
because it is a survival thing. Just like, somebody gets stuck up under a car or something, you hear about people lifting it. It's that type of survival that mothers enter into. And I think if the world would start looking at it like the danger that it is, like,
Dangerous.
and treat the victim of the
Yeah.
incident instead of the product of the incident, things would be to go so much smoother. Like, it's natural. I had the child, that is my responsibility. But when they say it takes a village, they not talking about the baby. They talking about moms. We
I,
need the village. Okay.
Fred, listen, this, no, this is exactly what we told you. Very first episode, we're not sugarcoating it. Okay. We are going to scare you because shit, being a mom, being a parent, going through childbirth, all that shit is actually
Yeah.
scary. Okay. The difference is we're going to provide you the resources. Okay. So processing, taking that time, like if you have a commute to work and you can take 5 to 10 minutes in that commute and just sit in your car before work, after work, and literally sit and
Hmm.
process something
Yeah,
that time. Because too many times we're like, we don't have the time. We make time for the things we think are
we
important.
do.
Because I know y'all was definitely making time to get the Beyonce tickets. Okay.
And they did fast
Made
too,
the time,
friend.
money. Okay. Listen, we love a
We do.
Beyonce. Do not come for us. But we just like to use that as an example because we make the time for the things that we find important. And
Yeah.
your mental health, your survival, your family, that stuff is important. You processing the life that you are living and going through and have lived is
Yeah.
important. So when we say we hadn't taken the time, we hadn't. And now we are. And we sit here talking and processing it with you. So y'all along for this journey.
Right.
But take that time, find it, find those 5 to 10 minutes somewhere, jot down, journal, shoot, record, voice record, get on your phone, whatever it is that gets it out, gets it spoken, gets it somewhere where you can truly look at it.
Hmm.
That is what is needed. And then, look, if you're pregnant and you're hearing this, and you're like, oh shit, I'm about to have another one, or I'm having my first, get a doula. They're great. Okay. A good doula will help you process this. They will help
Hmm.
you process where you are in pregnancy, they'll help you process where you are in postpartum. A mental health provider. Listen, if you want us to drop names and name names, we will. We got Erica Woodard. We got Juliette Wise. Okay.
Hmm.
I'll name all of my therapist
Listen,
friends.
DM us and we'll send you some people, okay?
Okay. But that's the difference here. We're gonna be honest, we're gonna scare you, but we're gonna give you the resources because you don't have to do this alone. We
Yeah.
do this alone. Why are we so close? Why have our friendship grown? Why are we doing this podcast together? Because we knew that talking about it to each other, we're not unicorns. I'm very unique, but I know that I'm not the only one dealing with processing things the same way Jasmine isn't, the same way you're not. So when we realize that we're not in this vacuum alone, it
Hmm.
opens us up to be able to share. And if you share to the wrong person and they don't handle it right, friend, that's not you. That's them. Find a new
Hmm.
person, okay? But you can always share with us. You can DM us.
Yes.
You can email us at PhysioPhitHSV@gmail.com. We want to hear your stories. We want to hear your birth stories. We want to hear anybody that's pissed you off because we will name names. If you want to be anonymous, let us know. Change the names. But we want to bring this stuff to light, okay? As we're sharing our own. Because again, we're not in this alone anymore. we got each other, and then we got y'all.
I got you, friend.
I got you, friend. Anything what to say, Jasmine?
No, y'all process, take the time, do your deep breathing, and be selfish. Be selfish, be selfish, be selfish. Put me first, because without me, there is no you. Without you, there is no family. Like,
No.
put yourself first. They need you. You know they fall apart when you leave for about 5 to 10 minutes.
Oof.
They do. So why not make sure you can keep showing up for a long time and make them survive for a little while? Take care of you. The more that you give you, the more that you're going to have to give yourself. I know it sounds counterproductive. Rest, rest, rest. Whatever rest looks like for you, sitting down, getting out, whatever. Get away from your responsibility at home
Yes.
and just go sit, just go be, go do some yoga, go read a book, go eat some ice cream. I don't care. I'm not talking hair and nails though, because we know that's not,
Mm-mm.
it's self-care, but self-care is work too. Outside of that, take time.
Look, my selfish helps me be selfless. Okay.
Mm,
Okay.
yeah.
But next week we will be back with your birth story. Okay. And I can't wait for that. So we will see y'all later. Bye.
Bye.